Hi, welcome to Finite Power Videos. This is DC here. In this video, I'm going to show you how to use the OMNIKEY 5022 reader writer with ISO15693 tags. Now, these are some of the important information about the OMNIKEY 5022 reader writer. First of all, if you have used the 5022 reader writer, you might have noticed it doesn't support the ISO15693 tags directly, just like the OMNIKEY 5321 or OMNIKEY 5422. So I have made few videos on how to use ISO15693 tags using these two readers. So however, I was not able to make video on this because at that time even I never knew how to use the ISO15693 tags using the 5022. Now there is a workaround, and this workaround is using a concept called transparent session, which is available within the reader. Now you have to understand the way this OMNIKEY reader writer works. Think this is the reader writer, say 5022, and this is our PC software, so which sends the command to this reader. Now this command is in the form of APDU, or this is nothing but a sequence of bytes. Now these commands is first received by the controller, which has got all the necessary firmware within this, which is inside the 5022, and this controller decodes APDU, and eventually it communicates with the tag. Maybe in between the tag and the controller there could be a RFID reader writer chip as well. So what you can do with this type of reader writer depends on what is supported within this firmware or within this processor. So anything that's not supported by the processor, we cannot do it. Now this concept of transparent session has been introduced probably to overcome these limitations. Using the transparent session, it's possible for us to send the command directly to the tag or directly to the RFID chip and back, and finally to the tag, by passing this firmware. Without this functionality, it is not at all possible to directly communicate with the tag. Now most of the reader writers from OMNIKEY does support this feature. For example, I have seen the 5321, which supports the transparent session, and if you want to communicate with the ISO15693 tags, you have to make sure the reader writer supports the transparent session. So in this video I'm going to make it very clear. Probably at the end of this video you'll understand how to send this type of commands, tag specific commands, directly from your software to the tag using the transparent session. Now there is a command called the Transceive command or Transceive command. This is what we'll be using throughout this video series. So I'm going to demonstrate how to use this Transceive command. We are going to understand the structure of this command, and the most important is you have to understand a property of the command called the transmitter receiver flags. Now there are, even with the transparent session, there is one limitation. So that is, if you have seen, if you have read about ISO15693 tags, there are some tags which will respond only after receiving the end of frame command. So in addition to the normal command to the tag, you have to send the end of frame command. Only then you get the response from this. One of the tag which depends on the end of frame tag is the Tag-it, HI or HF plus. The write operation depends on the option flag set to 1, and you have to send, or the reader has to send the EOF tag to receive the response. So this I would say is not a showstopper, but you have to be aware of these things. So there is no way in the documentation or is mentioned how to send this type of EOF end of frame message alone. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how to use this ICODE SLI tag. This is one of the simplest ISO tag you can understand. And when we add the more tags, like we are going to add ICODE SLIX, ICODE SLIX2, because now we understand that how to use these SLI tags. It's very easy for any software developer to make this reader writer work with the SLIX and SLIX2 tags. You can see I've connected my OMNIKEY 5022 reader writer, and I've also opened this software called HID OMNIKEY Workbench. You can get this software from the OMNIKEY website. There is something very crucial you have to do with this reader writer before you can start using with ISO15693. You have to first enable this reader writer to support the ISO15693 protocol. The way you do that is, once you connect here, you can see it shows your reader shows on the screen. Go to reader setting, go to this card configuration, and if you don't see this ISO15693, it's actually 155. It can't be 155. It's a 1569. Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's 15693. If it's not ticked, you have to tick it. There is also one more which is called iClass, and I never got chance to play with these cards. And looks like iClass is also based on 5693. But make sure you first tick this thing. When you tick that, probably you can see here. You have to click this apply setting. It's covering my video screen. Okay, once you do that, and probably you have to reconnect, and if you go back and place any, so I'm placing my SLI tag. If you can see here, you should see some information coming on the screen. Now you can see that the ATR of this tag has been read, and the software says it is ICODE SLI tag. So for you, when you try on your reader writer, so what you can do is try to place a ICODE SLI or any 15693 tag. If you don't see any ATR, it means you have to go back to reader setting and go to the card configuration and set this thing. A couple of things you can optimize here, like a polling order. Don't have to worry too much about this at this stage. Okay, so now I have already enabled this, and this makes the life easier when this is enabled. Now there, if you see the documentation, it is explained how to find out what protocols are enabled and how to enable and disable the protocol. So once that is done, open this OK 5022 developers guide. You just have to understand this section 1.8.1.7, the Transceive command. So these are the standard format. You'll be more focused on on what you pass here. Now you have to follow this APDU structure, FF680E03, 10 bytes. These are the standard 10 bytes here. Now every command you send must include this 10 bytes, followed by your tag specific command. So this is a standard APDU which has got the command length and the command bytes, and the expected length is always set to 000. By setting to 0, you are telling the reader writer to return everything the card sends in the response. So here the most important thing is the TX and RX flag, which I'm going to explain soon. You also got the valid bits, and this is basically telling how many bits of data to send in the last byte. I'm not going to use valid bits here. Now if you scroll to the documentation, at the end of the document there are a few examples on how to use this transceive command. The timeout, you can control the timeout. I have set everything to 00, so probably now so far it has worked for me. Next 4 bytes is RFU, you can keep this as 0. So followed by the ISO15693 or ICODE or Tag-it commands will go after here. So this is the most crucial thing. If you don't set this right, you will never get the response. In order to work with the ISO15693 tag, you must have this set, this not set, and this set, and this not set. Probably this is also not required. So what you need is a binary pattern 101 0 0 0 0, which is equal to 05. So what it says is to compute the CRC when sending the message, and also to check for the CRC in the response. So you know that all these ISO15693 tags, they do send the CRC byte. However, I'm really surprised, the parity bits are not used. If you set this parity bit, you will not get a response. So just try to make sure this TX and RX flag byte is set to 001, and you can play with the timeout thing, but set it all to zeros, it's fine, and valid bits set all to zeros. So this is what you need to know before you start sending this ISO command. So this is the software I use to train the developers, and if you look at the release notes, probably release notes is at here. Now the last change was happened on 13/02/2019, and nothing has gone into this software. So we have just started to add the functionality for ISO15693, and this works only with the OMNIKEY 5022. Now this software already has a feature where you can use this SLI tags using 5431 and 5422, and I have made a few videos on using this software. Now I'm going to show you how to use these commands first. Now if you don't have this software in it, still you can get a lot of knowledge from this video. If you already have this software, you should have picked the updates automatically, and it's the version 2.2. So here the first thing you do is refresh, and I'm going to connect to the reader. This just connects to reader. I also have the tag. I'm going to place the tag. Now you should see that whenever you place the tag, you should see some kind of a lighting sometimes. Connect to the tag. It says the connect is successful, and you can see the reader lights up here. You don't need this the direct mode. You can delete this 3500. Now what we noticed is you don't have to enter the transparent session. So all this time I was using the transparent session. However, without using the transparent session, you can start sending this transceive command. So the first thing is I would like to send this command to get the system information. Now I'm going to go through this command just once. This is what we saw in the document. So everything up to here is a standard. You have to type as it is. This 0C is the number of bytes following this, and the last is LE, which is 0. Now here you can see that I have set the timings, it's set to 20, but I'm going to set this to 0 because I was just playing with the timings. So here the only thing you see here is the value of the TX and RX flag, which is set to 5. So this is both the CRC of transmission side and the CS of the reception side are active. If I type send, you can see that we got a response. Now there's something else I forgot to mention about the response. So back in the documentation, just before the transceive command, So this is the response you get from the reader. The first 2 bytes are the status bytes, followed by the actual response from the tag. The first byte is called a status byte. You must have a 0, so for a successful operation, followed by the number of bits that is received, and this is always set to 0 because 0 means, as mentioned here, it's the full byte of data receiving, because this ISO15693 tag doesn't return like 7 bits, just like in MIFARE or in IS15443 standards, where RAQA and A2QA, they all return as a 7-bit values. Now you have to see that you get a 0 in the first byte and again 0 in the second byte. So only then the command is executed successfully and you will get some response from the IS15693 tag. Any other number in the status byte, it's a failure. So there are some of the values and the reasons for this failure. So here the first 2 bytes are zeros. So now we are sure that it's executed. Everything after that is the response, and the last 2 bytes are always 9000. I should have mentioned this just you have to make sure that the last 2 bytes are the ISO way of telling the status. That's the 9000. So the first 2 bytes and last 2 bytes, if they're 00 and 90, you can take everything in between them. This is the response of the tag. Now I know that this is the information, tag information. Okay, so now you know how to send the IS15693 commands using the Transceive command. So you don't have to worry about going into the transparent session, setting the protocol. Now the good thing is, what has happened so far is, because we have enabled this reader for 15693 protocol, everything has been initialized. So the reader is able to detect the tag. It has already set itself inside. It's ready to work with the IS15693 tag. Otherwise, you'll end up going through a laborious process like enter the transparent session, set the speed, set all these timings, a lot of things. So make sure you enable the IS15693 in this reader. So next I'm going to show you how to use this SLI, ICODE SLI in this software. So before I show you the working with the 5022, I thought I would show you what the software is to do before. Now I have connected the OMNIKEY 5321, and you can see I have activated the SLI tag and I'm able to read. So this reader supported IS15693 tags, the SLI ICODE tags, because the same read binary tag is able to read the data from the 15693 tag. So this software is to work, the same screen works well with the 5321. It also works with the Tag-it and probably in SLIX as well. So however, there are a few limitations about this reader, and I would advise you to see the data sheet of 5321. So I'm going to disconnect this and I'm going to connect, probably I told you something wrong before. I'm going to connect 505022. Now I'm just going to keep this aside. Now this one is this one is 5422. This is a dual interface reader writer, and this is the HID global software, and I'm going to choose the contactless interface. And if you go to reader settings and if you go to the card configuration, you don't see any option to set ISO15693 tags. You got only type A, type B, and iClass 15693. So looks like 5422 may not support 15693. So you just try to keep that in mind. And I'm going to now connect my 5022. This is a little very good looking reader. Now if I go to the same screen now, the same working screen, and I'm going to place this tag here, I can activate. It's fine because activation is done by the PCSC command called get data. I'm able to read the 8-byte UID of the tag. However, everything after that, like get the AFI, get DSFID, get memory, or in fact the read tag, so everything fails from this point on. So that shows these commands doesn't work with the 5022, and also means that 5022 does not support 15693. You can't say, I think as I mentioned before, it all depends on the firmware sitting inside this in this compact reader. Maybe the firmware does not support reading ISO15693, and that's the reason probably why the HID Global have provided the transparent session and the Transceive command. Okay, that's all you need to know about this the capability of this reader. And so next I'm going to show you the new screen which has been developed. And if you have this software, go to the last option, ISO15693 OK5022. Now there is a bit of a design change here. So we want to make a full screen. In fact, designing a full screen is really difficult. It's easy to make a compact screen where you decide where to go, but making a full screen and work with the different screens are difficult to design. So however, this is not a bad looking layout. So I'm going to show you quickly how to read this tag. You connect, and at the bottom here you can see all the commands going through, and you can use this clear logs, and you can send this system information. This is the command I showed you using the console, and that you can see the response has come here. Based on response, some of the fields are populated here. If you hit read tag, this reads all the 28 blocks. Now I'm not going to make this a tutorial on SLI. I would advise you to look at I got many videos talking about ICODE SLI tags. I would advise you to look into that place. Okay, so now you can see everything is here, and you can start editing the data. I'm going to key in something here. And the most important thing in this video is about to learn how to send these commands. Now you got this the standard 15 bytes of like a kind of a header, kind of envelope, and that we have seen this thing. We got 10 plus envelope, and you got the last byte which is the expected length set to 0. So if you ignore this and the first 15 bytes, so everything in between that is the actual ICODE SLI command. There is an option here at the bottom of this screen called hide the command wrapper. If you tick that, and if I now go and write, you can see just the command, the tag command here. Now you can untick this and look at this command structure, and keep in mind nothing will change in the command structure except this commands. Everything, the first 15 bytes and the last byte will never change. So this is an option to hide that if you want to just focus on the tag command. Now we're able to read. Likewise, I can, if you hit this multiple security, now this will tell you whether it's locked or not locked. Now this is a brand new tag, thing is locked. So likewise, you can read individual block. Read, you can see the data is read. Likewise, you got the EAS, because this is SLI tag, you got the EAS. If you hit, and you can see that EAS is not set. I'm going to set it. Now probably this set is throwing error because this could be a locked one. I would rather use a different tag so that I can show the EAS. Let's use this one. So when you change the tag, you just go back to the connect and hit. You got a new tag. Every time you connect it, come down, click on the get. You got this. And now if I alarm, look at that, you get this EAS bits, and you can set this EAS or disable that. I'm going to disable it if possible. Looks like it's locked, so I cannot disable. And also, you got various other commands you can try. The select command. Now there is separate video, as I mentioned before, that shows everything about the ICODE SLI tag. So please take a look at those videos. But this video so far, what I showed you is how to access the ICODE SLI, or in general ISO15693 tag, using the OMNIKEY 5022 reader. So probably with this knowledge, you can use this 5022 along with your software. So now we know it works. So you have seen it works, and you also seen how to send these commands. And also we also learned that you don't have to enter the transparent session, exit transparent session. So it's a good thing, everything works without any change. So what's going to happen next is, so this screen supports only SLI. Now gradually in the next versions, you will start seeing the screens for SLIX and SLIX2 and probably SLIS S, or everything, as long as the device supports the command. So you can keep seeing the changes in the screen. Probably next video I'll also try to show you how to use the Tag-it. And as I mentioned before, in the Tag-it command, the write operation depends on the option flag set to 1, which also means after the command is sent, the reader must send a dummy end of frame command, which I don't know how to send this command. Now we're going to discuss that in a Tag-it in the next video. Thanks for watching.